on the program how you can be involved in the much-needed build of a West End hospice. And we are in a garden in the making, so to speak, here at Ritchie Feed and Seed, because it's one of the most natural elements of the human experience, the desire to be surrounded by nature, especially at the end of one's life and when times are so tough for families and for the individuals. We're with Amy Desjardins, who's with Briere Continuing Care, and she's going to share the exciting details of this West End build, which is a collaborative effort, and of course with Steve Madley. Steve, you have had a very difficult year, but you also describe it as a very beautiful year, celebrating your 43-year marriage to your wife, Gayle, and the garden component of this hospice is going to be in Gayle's memory.
Yes, they're calling it Gayle's Garden. Thank you for that. At the end of Gayle's life, we knew that her time would be limited, and we had 5 years when we thought it was going to be much less. We were so fortunate that not only were we as a couple given notice that every moment is going to count here, don't waste a moment, but we were also fortunate that at the end of Gayle's life, she was surrounded by tremendous care. And at one point, I was kind of hoping I was very much hoping we could make it to Mother's Day, which was always the biggest day at our home. And I discussed it with Gayle's palliative care doctor, and she said, I think you better have it Friday. I don't think Gayle will make it to Sunday. And so called the kids all home. They'd all gone home on the Wednesday. They got back on the Thursday, and we had our Mother's Day on the Friday. And they raced to get all our planters planted. Our crabapple tree was already in bloom that first weekend, long weekend in May, and they planted all the rest of the flowers, and we turned Gayle's hospital bed around in our bedroom so she could look out the window, and she saw the flowers. And it was her last day of full consciousness with the family, and we had our barbecue dinner in the bedroom with Gayle on our TV trays, and it was a beautiful day in every respect. And she looked at the garden, and that was where she loved to spend her time, was in our garden and little waterfall. And so in every respect, I look back at that time and say it was, for our entire family, enriching, rewarding. We were all there to the very last moment, surrounded by unbelievable care. There was a point at which, you and I are employees of a company that has a fabulous insurance plan, but many people wouldn't have that availability of help that we had. And that's when our backup plan was always Maycourt. We were always going to go to Maycourt and say, can you help us? Because we want to keep Gayle home if we possibly can. And it turned out that we were able to stay home.
You have always been so involved in fundraising for hospice care, for palliative care, so you have always had an appreciation. But as you say, your family was truly blessed that you were able to fulfill Gayle's wish, and she was able to pass it home. Amy, in all of the times and over the years that we've spoken, and I see the incredible work that happens at Briere, what's happening now and what our viewers are able to participate in, because it's a really meaningful fundraising project, a much-needed hospice in Ottawa's West End, a collaborative effort. Explain that, if you would. What is happening?
So Hospice Care Ottawa is the voluntary merger of Hospice at Maycourt and Friends of Hospice Ottawa, and they've partnered with Briere Continuing Care to build a full-service hospice in Canada. We've purchased 110 McCurdy, a beautiful old church that we are going to be raising $6 million to renovate and expand to become a day hospice and residential hospice. Certainly many beautiful features. Of course, primarily the thing we're working on today is Gayle's Garden, but it is going to be a hallmark hospice in our country, and we're just so proud to be a part of it.
And you know, we focus on the fact that we are so underserviced when it comes to the number of hospice beds in our community. Maybe you could put that in perspective.
A community of our size needs between 70 and 80 adult hospice beds. In Ottawa, we have 9, the 9 beds at Hospice at Maycourt. And this is such an urgent need that we've actually opened temporary hospice beds at the Embassy West residence. So those are going to be available until the McCurdy site is completed in about 4 to 5 years.
Well, it's wonderful for us to be able to give viewers an opportunity, and I know that over the next 2 days, lines are going to be open. You're giving listeners an opportunity to participate, to donate to this project, and to have their sort of elegant, emotional influence in this garden as well. We're going to be back with Steve Madley and with Amy Desjardins, and a really dear friend of Steve and his late wife Gayle's, a woman who really, really understands the importance of enjoying the beauty of nature.